Hello everyone, it's Omae and welcome back to the brand new video. So today we're going up against level 300 against COLLUN. So this is going to be my take, almost certainly using New Year's characters, none of the 12th Anni units. And if we take a look at the HP at level 300, it's about 13.9 trillion, which if you use the Usopp buff with Luffy, it's an 80% reduction. So you only need to do 2.78 trillion damage, and this team without Sanji buff is doing about 4-ish trillion, right? So it's very much overkill, and my team also has quite low investment on our DPS characters, so this is quite a safe team for you guys to use. But you will need to pick up Luffy as well in addition to Usopp for you to actually get the 80%, and you need to pick up Usopp first and then Luffy. It's very oddly coded. I think it's a bug, but you have to pick up Usopp and then Luffy. If you pick up Luffy first then Usopp, it's not going to work. You will get only a 60% HP cut. But this run we won't be using Sanji, so let's see how it goes. Of course, we are using some very interesting characters here. Kara and Wanda is actually such an interesting character because they work amazingly with Luffy and Bonnie, right? So this character provides a 3-turn normal attacks through defensive effects buff. Only in the games to do this, right? So on the final stage, our middle row gets silenced. We can't use their specials, nor their swap effects, right? So on stage 4, we use Carrot and Wanda to get through the barrier, to give us cooldown, but also to give us that buff, which will be carried over into the final stage. So we are using Nika Bonnie as a friend captain. If you have your own one that has decent investment, mainly regarding Super Tandem and Damage Limit Break, then you can just put your Nika Bonnie as a captain in a separate team slot, and then Bandai will give you a reflected captain, right? So this character is great because if you have an existing damage through normal attacks through defensive effects buff, then this unit will provide both conditional boosts in one go, right? Both the conditional for increased damage taken and weakened statuses, as well as a conditional boost for delays, right? And this unit gives the delay through immunity. So really good combo there. Kara and Wanda and Nika Bonnie and Kuma. Amazing combo. And then we have Lilith. This character is very important. They do have an incredible last up ability, essentially giving us an extra 1.5 trillion damage with this last up ability. You don't need it maxed. As I said, it's an overkill team, and that damage does get nerfed quite a bit because it's over the damage cap at that point, but it's still a massive impact, and most people will have this unit maxed out. But even level 3, even level 2 is probably fine. Level 1, it will be a bit dicey on the damage, but it's fine. Also stage 4, she will give us a 3-turn orb boost thanks to the extension of orb boost from Robin and Crocodile. So on the final stage, we don't need to use a special. Very important, she will get silenced. So it's very important that the units are in these specific slots. Lilith, as well as Carrot and Wanda, who will eventually become in the slot that Robin and Crocodile is thanks to Captain Shift. These units will get silenced on the final stage. In addition, we have the coded Sunny for a damage reduction base attack boost, but honestly, just using a shop with high damage in the first place, a higher base multiplier than 1.65x that the coded Sunny provides, will get you a similar damage result. You could use a shop like the Piece of Spadil, the Megalo, although that one will only allow you to get damage when your captain is Sayo in, so I guess the Whale Shark's giving 1.75x. The Catapult is probably your next best option in my opinion after the one that I'm using right now, the Coded Sunny, because this ship gets you insane damage multipliers to your captain. But at the end of the day, it's not boosting dex, so it's still not ideal, right? But there are a lot of options. I guess you could also use Kids ship, if I can find it. This one here gives you pretty high damage multipliers, but anyways, you shouldn't need it because of how overkill the team is. Then we have supports. That Dory is extremely important. Same goes for Jupiter. Basically everyone here is necessary. I mean, Pedro can be obtained from the PKA ticket shop for free. Centauro is a common rare recruit. Bonclay is a rumble rare recruit, but you can replace him with another threshold reducer. It will just mean that you need to be a bit more careful when you are playing, but you can use Lindbergh instead. And I suppose you can also use this Zoro. There's no reason not to. Both of them, you only need one turn, right? So you can either use those two, but Dory, this unit is so important because we are stalling on stage 4. We will lose the ability to perform Super Tandem with rainbow slots. So we need this support to change Kuma's rainbow slot into a tandem so we can perform Super Tandem on the final stage. Very important that you have Dory there, right? Besides that, Jupiter on Saturn is probably the hardest support to replace, physically impossible to replace actually, unbelievably so. It's 6 turns of threshold reduction. Now if you want a version of this team that has no stall and also you don't have Saturn or the Jupiter, you can also just use what's his face here, where's Mihawk? Sai Mihawk, Zoro's enemy. This is the irregular legend. You can use him instead of Saturn. He'll still give you a massive attack boost, remove the threshold as well. So just a more mild version of Saturn. The only reason we're stalling in this team in the first place is because Saturn has a ridiculously long cooldown and we need to stall for that, alright? But he also gives you so much more damage. He multiplies Lilith's orb boost by 1.5x, gives a massive attack boost himself, a driven territory which does add a bit of damage, and then of course he does have the support of Jupiter for the threshold reduction. I think I've explained everyone here besides Robin and Crocodile and Kuma. Kuma is just there for color affinities, as well as making your color affinity stackable, giving the enemy set target status, healing us, removing bind, of course. Just a really good character overall, allowing us to use Robin and Crocodile special twice thanks to their EX super. And then, as we said before, Nikabani is going to give us all those conditional boosts. Very important character. So without further ado, let's get into this. I will be using my own Nikabani as a friend captain. Our main DPS here is Robin and Crocodile. They have type advantage as well as class advantage, and no one else is having both of that. The Carrot and Wanda also does quite a bit of damage since they are a Dex Cerebral, but they don't have the advantageous class Striker, right? So we're going to use our Nikabani. This is only Super Tandem level 3, so you can definitely get higher damage multipliers. If your Crocodile and Robin has Limit Break expansion, higher level Limit Break than 99, as well as a higher Super Tandem on your Nikabani. So on stage 1 and 2, as well as stage 3, we will be killing in one turn. But then stage 4, you have to pay attention, my guy, bro. Like it's very easy to mess up with this team on stage 4. So be very aware. Now, once again, you can use that Mihawk instead of Saturn and Jupiter support. You will get less damage. It'll still do about 2.5 trillion, which will just be shy of enough to kill. So you need to have decent investment on your Robin Crocodile for that to work with Mihawk, but it will be no stall, right? So keep that in mind. It's much better this way because we have that overkill. It's a safe team, very, very safe actually. But I'm very satisfied with how Carrot and Wanda works. Finding them was like a gemstone, man. Amazing. Same with Lilith. I mean, on stage 4 we're like stalling out the debuffs, the despair and the attack down, but if you're just making a regular team and you're playing this regularly without stall on stage 4 using Mihawk instead of Saturn, then Lilith will remove both the despair and the attack down. That's just how good Lilith is, while providing the 3-turn orb boost after the extension from Robin Crocodile's captain effect, right? So stage 3, Carrot and Wanda once again coming in clutch, swapping to the Dex form. You have an attack boost on them. We can just actually kill through the damage reduction, and we can ignore the special bind until the 4th stage here. So just your perfects, and my Robin and Crocodile and Carrot and Wanda are both fairly low investments, so this should be a very safe kill if you tap with them last, right? But if you don't kill on stage 3, in one turn, COLLUN will bind you, right? So that'll activate the center Mara support. You don't want that to happen, so be very careful about that, right? So when we get to this point here, we still have our slots locked, so it really doesn't matter who you tap. We're just going to stall here for 5 turns. Once the despair and the attack down is gone, we'll still have 1 turn left on our slot lock. We're going to use that turn to buzz Luffy down to very low HP, and then we'll end off Luffy and try to maintain our rainbow slots for the final stage. The enemy does a lot of nasty orb manip on the final stage with paralysis slots, poison slots, block slots. So you really want to make sure that you carry over these rainbow orbs, right? And also a very key detail that actually bamboozled me one time is that Dory support doesn't change Kuma's slot to a tandem in any circumstance. It has to be a rainbow slot or a block slot. So we need Kuma to maintain his rainbow slot, otherwise Dory will not work. He won't give Kuma a tandem slot, so it's very important that you do that. So I'm just gonna tap here. If you are coming in with a Sanji buff, be very careful, because if you're not careful, you will accidentally kill Luffy if you tap with all of your units there with the Sanji buff, right? So if you're using Sanji, just hold your punches. It's not the end of the world if you don't kill or get into very low HP, should I say. You can still just have an extra few turns where you tap with just Robin and Crocodile to get Luffy to a very low HP. But don't use your rainbow slots on the other characters at this point if you are in that situation. But in my situation here, I can one tap Luffy. So we're going to captain shift Robin and Crocodile into the captain. So it's very important that you start off in Robin's form there, right? Otherwise the captain shift will not activate. What we can do now is use the special of, you know what, never mind, and we need to store one more turn. You can call me Omae the fraud, bro. I'm actually a fraud, bro. So what we're gonna do now, we need to store one more turn for those specials to be back, right? And we can't have that captain shift active right now because that will be gone by the final stage if we just continued. So remember, if you aren't doing any action specials, you can just reset your game and it'll reset everything you've done, right? So what we're gonna do here, tap on Robin and Crocodile, because if you tap on anyone else, their slot could be a strength, dex, or int slot, which will get changed to either poison or paralysis thanks to the enemy. So we don't want that to happen. Robin and Crocodile is safe though, because they remove paralysis on themselves when they swap. So what we're going to do here is now use the captain shift. And also Saturn does change poison into matching. So the Robin and Crocodile is guaranteed going to have a matching slot on the final stage. Don't worry about that, even if they get changed into paralysis or poison, because remember, we're going into the final stage with a strength, dex, or int slot. So the enemy changes that into poison and paralysis. We will swap them back into dex, paralysis slots removed, Saturn special, poison slots removed. It'll be safe, don't worry, it is reliable. So now we can use Lilith. Use Lilith first. If you use Carrot and Wanda first, they'll give a 1 turn orb boost that'll be extended to 2 turns, which will be gone by the final stage. It'll also block the orb boost from Lilith special, so you don't want that to happen. Use Lilith first, then Carrot and Wanda, and keep them in their dex form. It'll help you with damage on the final stage. Now tap on your Crocodile. Sweet. And one really cool thing about, I don't know when this update was implemented, but on PKAs on both stage 3 and 4, the boss revives, has a dialogue line, and then they run away. They did this so that bind, special bind, despair, all these status effects that affect certain slots, they will reduce by 2 turns when you move through stages. Before, only icon debuffs like attack down would reduce by 2 turns when you move between stages, and then including the preemptive as well. But thanks to that revive that was implemented so that it's much easier for us to handle bind, despair, and special bind. It's kind of unrelated, it didn't help us there, but it is quite an important detail if you are a team builder, right? So Robin and Crocodile have a paralysis slot. First thing you want to do is use EX Super of Nikabani. If you use Kuma Special first, get the tandem slot from Dory Broggy, and then use the EX Super, you'll get that tandem slot removed from the EX Super of Nikabani. So don't do that. First use Nikabani's EX Super, very important. Now, go to your options, make sure certain VFX once a day, play action special once a day, and auto special, action special auto resolve are all off, because we are going to be hitting excellent to make it safe, right? So Nikabani, this is going to be great for our damage. Oh, that one is quite difficult. We have to swipe up. It's very easy to hit a miss there. You have to be quick. Yes. As long as you hit like every excellent besides 3 perfects. If you can hit 3 perfects and you'll still get an excellent result, as long as that final hit in the action special is an excellent, because that one's very important. I don't even know what I'm yapping about anymore, man. So we're gonna use the special here. This will give us a color affinity, release us from bind, and then also activate Dory. We can then use the Robin and Crocodile swap and special to get a matching orb, become the advantageous class, give us a chain boundary, give the enemy weakened status, and go into their dual form. Since they're in their dual form, Kuma special will now give the enemy increased damage taken as well as set target status, and turn the original color affinity into stackable. Now we can use Robin Crocodile for a second color affinity, use the super type to buff the increased damage taken, do not disable switch captains, and then we can use Saturn to buff Lilith's 3x or boost to 4.5x, and also give us a 5x attack boost. Ooh, that's clean, bro. This is also just really a V1 Saturn appreciation video. We very easily forget about this guy. He was the first Aldi unit. His V21 gets most of the screen time, right? And this guy had so much hype on release, but he was so quickly forgotten, man. So let's just appreciate him. He's still such an amazing legend, extremely powerful. Don't forget it, man. And he has access to all these Aldi supports for amazing utilities. And then finally, Coded Sunny for a damage reduction based attack boost. So we're going to tap on Saturn first. I mean, he has no correlation with the other units to start off our chain. And then we'll tap with Kuma, Nikabani, and then Robin and Crocodile. And of course, end off with a Lilith. Super tandem. Bro, I need more water, bro. Awesome, awesome. Super tandem boost of both Rob, Croc, and Kuma. Bro, that super tandem boost animation is so clean. And bam. 3.3 trillion. It's a lot less than I was remembering. I think it might be because I was using Sanji boost in my previous playthrough of 300. But either way, that is still pretty safe. You have 6. Oh, wow. And that's a good showcase of the rates of Hime turtles at level 300. Amazing. 3 turtles, man. Unfortunately, no boost in the team when it comes to duping drops, but it is what it is. 3.3 trillion. I mean, at the end of the day, you have about 500 billion to work with. And 500 billion when you're above the damage cap is quite significant, right? Unnerved, it's probably about 2 trillion extra damage. So you have a lot of wiggle room when it comes to investments, and especially if you're using Sanji buff, it'll help you. But thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about the team, ask them down below. Once again, if you are wanting to use like a no stall version, moving up to level 300, that does about 2 to 2.5 trillion. Use Mihawk instead of Saturn. You won't have to stall on stage 4. Lilith will remove all the debuffs. You can use Kuma's special on stage 4 for the first time. That color affinity will transfer over to the final stage. It is a 310 color affinity. You won't need Dory Broggy's support. Won't be necessary whatsoever. Nor will you need what's his face, Mr. 2. So this is all you'd need, right? Lilith only removes 6 turns of those debuffs. You need 7 turns. So we have Pedro still. You won't need the coded Sunny since we were not stalling for that, so you could just use the whale sharks. But this is kind of the more accessible version with no stall. Stage 3, you still use Kuma. I mean, you don't use anyone. You just kill with the swap effect of Carrot and Wanda through the defensive effects. Stage 4, you use Kuma. Then you captain shift Robin Crocodile to the captain. Then use Lilith special for a 3-turn ore boost. Remove the despair and the attack down. And then use Carrot and Wanda special for a 3-turn normal attacks through defensive effects buff. The final stage, you use Meox. Well, you first use the EX Super, or no, the special of Robin Crocodile, then the EX Super of Kuma, which will recharge his own special and Robin Croc special once again. Use Kuma special to release Meox from bind. Use Meox special for an attack boost to remove the threshold. Use Nikabani for the 2 conditionals. And it's a very easy kill with still very similar damage effects. The only thing you'll lose is that the attack boost will be much lower from Meork, and also you won't get the buff to Lilith's ore boost. That's the only real difference in terms of the two teams, right? So more accessible and also lower stall with this variance, but instead of 3.3 to 3.4 trillion, you'll only have about 2 to 2.5, right? So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, and I'm out.